Hi, welcome once again to Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. Senior Focus is a show designed for adults over the age of 50 or so, but of course, at any age, you're welcome to stay tuned. If you happen to miss any of the show, it's on demand on Armstrong, and also Greg Roten, who thanks for bringing the show to you. Greg will put this up on YouTube, and it'll be archived there, and there are plenty of shows that you can go back and review, and if you miss some, you can go look at those. Today we're going to be talking about senior transportation in Mahoning County, and we have Jim Ferraro.
Hi.
Welcome. Jim is the director of Western Reserve Transit Authority, or WRTA, I guess is what it's known as, right?
Right.
And well, let's just start off with how long have you been at that position as the director?
It's quite a story. I drove school bus in the 60s while I was going to Youngstown State, and WRTA took over the school service. Mm-hmm. I moved to WRTA as a driver. I wasn't very good at it, and eventually moved into the office, became the chief dispatcher, then the director of transportation and maintenance, and lo and behold, the executive director. So it's been quite a ride. It's kind of like being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, total then, how long have you been at the
42 years.
Oh, 42. Okay.
I'm an old man.
Well, but they were the same transportation basically back then. It was buses.
Sure, it was buses, and we had special programs. We were one of the first that had a senior program that we inherited from the city of Youngstown called Model Cities. Mm-hmm. They actually handed out tickets to seniors who were able to schedule rides with WRTA and move in and around the city. Oh. Back then, it was just a city-based service.
Right.
The only member was the city of Youngstown. They voted property tax, mm-hmm. and that was pretty much the way it was.
Now, of course, it's a county-wide system, right?
It sure is. It's a Mahoning County service, and it's open to anyone in Mahoning County. The Dollar Ride, the Easy Go, the SST programs, all those things are based on an advance call, a scheduled pickup, take you to your destination, and then a return. It's quite a program, something we're proud of, and mm-hmm. I think something that fits in well. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that back years ago when we had the school service, we had 68 full-size coaches. Wow. And only 4 small vehicles where we had 6 to 10 passenger. It's changed dramatically since we went countywide, and we'll probably end up with from that 68 down to about 48 full-size and more like 25 small vehicles. So
it's sort of flipped, or almost, yeah.
Well, there's no doubt. Big vehicles cannot do much in the county. Mm-hmm. In the far southern portion of Mahoning County, you're lucky if you can travel down the road, let alone get somebody picked up at their home.
Right. So, you mentioned some of the services, and why don't we start off with, and we'll mention this later too, sure, during the show. If people want to get in touch with WRTA, what's the best way to do that? How do they call?
You can call 330-744-8431, mm-hmm. and you'll end up with 3 very fine schedulers who will take the information, send you out applications if you want to get involved in the special service transportation, which is based on age and individuals with disabilities. Okay. But Easy Go countywide, you just make that call, tell them you need picked up, and if you don't fit within the SST program and qualify for Easy Go, you're on the schedule.
So Easy Go is a broader service, which is basically available to anybody?
Without a doubt. Anybody in Mahoning County more than 3/4 of a mile past any route. Mm-hmm. If you're a senior and you live within 3/4 of a mile of a route, you can use the special service transportation. All right. And that works well too.
Okay, that's SST then.
The SST.
Yeah. Okay. Now on Easy Go, you basically you call ahead of time. Is that how that works? Or?
Yeah, call in advance, the number I just gave them, and they'll be able to schedule a ride. Again, as long as you live or are traveling more than 3/4 of a mile outside of one of our regular routes. That's a federal guideline. Mm-hmm. So it works in quite well for them, and we pick them up at their home, kind of like a taxi at a reduced cost, obviously, and that's $350. And if you're a senior, it's $250. So it's I think, quite a program. You'd wear that much out in shoe leather walking from some of those areas
Yeah.
to get to an appointment. And we'll travel, we'll pick you up and take you. We don't set up any situation to where you can't travel based on what your need is. You may be going to dialysis.
Right.
You may be going to just get your hair done. You schedule it, same rate, first come, first serve. That's the way it works on that countywide.
Now, do you ever get to a point, I would think this would be a popular service. I mean, are there waiting lists to get on this?
No, we take everybody as far as scheduling. Sometimes if you don't call in advance, then you run into that situation to where we can't get you at the exact time you need picked up.
Right.
And that makes it difficult because at 7 a.m., everybody that wants to schedule a ride in the county or in the service area is calling that number, and the three girls are working very hard to schedule everybody. But again, it's first come, first served. And we've been doing a lot better lately with it and had last month a zero denial based on trying to work with people as far as fitting them in to take care of their personal needs.
So you can call, though, the day before?
You can call up to a week in advance.
Up to a week, okay.
That's based again on guidelines on the federal government.
Sure.
But obviously, calling a day before as opposed to those that are lined up 6 or 7 days in advance, it's tough to get in there,
So, yeah, so the earlier the better.
without a doubt.
And so it's not a good idea then, the day of the appointment, like you're saying, to maybe try to call in.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's how busy it is.
Yeah.
But we're looking to, through a federal grant, make this even easier so that people can schedule themselves as opposed to calling one of the three girls to schedule a ride. They'll be able to go ahead in, schedule it, and then we'll pick it up so they can do it at any time as opposed to after 7 a.m. when the girls are there. And that'll make it, I think, a lot better for the people who want to use that particular service.
Now, this is the Easy Go service, and what, these are small vans, or what type of vehicles?
Yeah, they're 15-passenger vans, all wheelchair lift equipped, just like all of our full-size coaches.
Okay.
Based on a federal guideline, you can't purchase a bus unless it has a lift on it. And full-size coaches are very expensive, very
Right.
expensive.
Right. Well, how much would one of these smaller vans go for still? I would think those would be expensive even.
Yeah, some
Because
of
of the
them, we've been able to, through a state grant, compete and pick up some in the neighborhood of 78 to 79,000, some as high as 139,000. And most of that is with federal guidelines providing about 80% of it. And we
Okay.
come up with 20, so we can pick up a $100,000 bus for 20,000.
Well, that's
Throw it
good.
into the program, and again, since we've gone from 4 to about 26 small vehicles, they're in demand, there's no doubt. And we're
Sure.
at this point trying to replace the entire full-size fleet because most of those were 12 to 15 years old. And again, that's a federal guideline to where you have to keep a bus for 12 years minimum
Right.
unless you add service. So, and those buses, again, back to cost, full-size coaches, unbelievably, at $430-some thousand
Oh, my.
a piece. So even with 80% federal money, you still got to come up with 60 to 80,000
Yeah.
on each one of those vehicles, and we're replacing the whole fleet. So hopefully within the next few months, everything we'll have will be brand new.
Now, the full-size buses, again, not, and we'll go back to Easy Go and SST, but that's what you started with was the traditional bus routes. And could you talk about those? I know like in Austintown where I live, you've got routes out to there, you've got routes to Boardman. Just describe the system and where you go with the buses.
Yeah, we actually have roughly 26 routes, regular routes, that leave as early as 5:10 in the morning, travel to the suburbs in cases to where we have the 40 Austintown, pretty much a direct route to the Austintown Plaza, Walmart. Gets people to work that early, gets people out there to take care of employment needs because a lot of that is service-based employment.
Sure.
And people who use public transit are in that category for the most part, so you got to keep it inexpensive. For an adult to ride the regular route, it's $1.25. For a senior, it's only 60 cents, and students at 75 cents. But besides the Austintown route, we have the Boardman Loop, we have the Austintown Loop, we have Cornersburg buses, and we pretty much connect Canfield all the way across to Struthers and down into the downtown Struthers area, and most of 224 to where you really have a population density situation with regard to employment needs and travel.
Right.
That's our biggest route, the market route.
Right. And again, I'm thinking, of seniors who may be retired, if they need to go to a doctor's appointment or grocery shopping or at the mall, again, they could use the regular buses because, as you said, they're all wheelchair equipped. But, even for people that don't need a wheelchair, those would be available.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And a lot of seniors don't like the idea of scheduling a couple days in advance because they may wake up and say, I don't feel that well today.
Right.
And I've got to cancel. But when they know that bus is going to be there at 7:40 at that corner, they just walk out and take it if the weather's right. And at 60 cents, so you can't beat the price of that for a senior. And,
Sure.
And they like that. They like their independence.
How about for like a monthly pass? Do you have those where people could, if you're a regular rider, and again, there are people that are over 50 that, as you said, work, maybe
Yeah.
they're working out, at the mall, or they're working at a Walmart or something. How does that work, the monthly pass?
Great question. We used to sell the monthly pass. Now we sell a 31-day ride ticket for a fare of $42 for anybody who's not a senior or just a regular rider. And they can ride unlimited rides for 31 days. Or if a senior would like to buy one, it would be $21. Same thing, unlimited rides. It can equate to even less than 60 cents a ride. If you're a senior and working, still, again, making 20-some trips a day, a month.
A month, sure, yeah.
If you ride, some people do ride 20 sometimes a day. Now, there are some people, once they buy a pass, will use it. If pop's on sale for 69 cents somewhere, they'll throw that ticket out there, go get the bargain.
Right.
It's much better than having to pay for fuel every time you go, but it works well.
Well, how many, this is just a general question, how many people ride the bus, your system overall in a year? Do you have numbers like that?
Sure do. We have computerized fare boxes to where we can actually break down categories, where they got on, what category they ride as, whether they be a senior, adult, a student. And last year we had 1.62 million riders on WRTA. As a matter of fact, last month we print these up, and a lot of people say those buses are empty. Well, I'll take a ride with you if you'd like, and you'll see the difference. Last month, and in April, we averaged 5,178 riders a day.
Okay.
So, it's a situation where it's a quality of life thing in some cases, it's a matter of employment in some cases, and then others, it's just a matter of independence. Because a lot of people can't afford two cars in a household, and sometimes there are 2 or 3 people in a household working to help meet the needs or the budget of that family. So they are out there using it.
Yeah, now with, we just passed a senior levy in Mahoning County, and I don't know, this is a question I don't know the answer to, that's why I'm asking, I guess. Has there been any talk about some of that funding going towards transportation, or can you describe how that might work, or maybe, go ahead.
Well, there's been some dialogue with regard to it, but that has happened over in Trumbull County, where they don't have a route service. They have Niles Trumbull Transit or Trumbull County Transit,
right,
to where it's all dollar ride, and they take some of that senior money and use it towards transportation. At this time in Mahoning County, I would say our transportation situation is much stronger because WRTA actually has a sales tax levy that supports it, which gives us that ability to service the entire county. and maintain some stability, okay?
Right.
There isn't a public transit system in North America that will ever tell you they make enough through the fare box
Yeah.
to keep it going. All but Toledo of the large systems live off sales tax. Cleveland actually has a full penny without a sunset, meaning, of course, they never have to go back. Our particular sales tax is 1/4 cent, and it's a 5-year issue. The first time we sold it was probably about 4 years ago, and then we went back out and had a renewal. So we have one successful, one renewal, and sometime in 2017 we'll probably be looking at the renewal of that particular levy. And again, it's 1/4 penny. It won't be an increase, but again, it goes to a referendum. And we have 7 trustees at the Transit Authority, 4 of whom are appointed by the commissioners
Okay.
and 3 by the mayor of the city.
Okay, so it's a combination.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
combination. They serve without pay. They get involved in a lot of cases, I think heavily involved, and it works well.
Well, if we can, why don't we go back to something specific again to seniors, which is the SST program? Well, it's not seniors, that's disabled also, right?
Yeah,
Of
that's
any
the
age.
key. That's the program that is a federally mandated guideline that says that if you provide route service, regular route service, which we do, 26 routes, that you have to provide a dollar ride program for individuals who have a disability during the same hours, the same days, and if they live within more than 3/4 of a mile, within 3/4 of a mile of that route, they're eligible, but they have to fill out an application, we get concurrence from their medical doctor, and put them into the program. We probably had at one point as many as 4,000 people in the program, and it's dwindled down somewhat. Unfortunately, as they get older, they seem to leave us and the program, but it's something that really works well. I've talked to many family members who say, and it's not like it was at one time, to where everybody took care of the older people and everything was
Right.
picked up, take you.
Yeah,
Most
your
people
neighbor or
work
whoever.
2 jobs, and now they're stuck. We get calls with some real tough situations where people need dialysis, and without it, it's kind of tough to make a go of it. But we schedule that on a regular basis and take care of a lot of medical needs, and we even have grandma call to say, I need to get my hair taken care of. And we feel good about taking care of that too, because there's nothing better than that quality of life issue.
So somebody would be picked up again at their home.
Curbside.
Curbside.
Right.
And they're taken, again, for an example, it's a doctor's appointment.
Sure.
Does the van stay there? Does it go on to take other people to other locations and come back? How does that work?
In most cases, that's a great question. In most cases, we're trying to move as many people as we can. So there are probably 6, 7 people that have a 10 o'clock doctor's appointment.
Right.
So we make sure we get them there at 10. Doctors' offices all know our numbers. That van will drop off, make its next scheduled pickup, maybe even make 2 more pickups, and then they will call us from the office and say that Mrs. Jones is ready to return.
Right.
We let them know how quickly we can go, dispatch to them, and get them there and take them back home. So it's like a cab ride, and it's tough to do more than 1.5 to 2 people an hour, because even though we schedule it with a computer and they try to do it as best they can, you try and figure out how you get somebody from the east side of Youngstown or from North Jackson to a doctor's appointment and go in that direction, and it's a great thing.
Yeah. What is the cost on that one, on SST?
That is no pass in advance. The SST is $2.
That's $2? Okay.
Yeah, $2 flat rate, one way.
But again, there's some paperwork to fill out, and that's more sort of limited. You have to prove disability and
You
things
certainly
like that.
do.
Okay.
That, we do let people over the age of 62 ride in the program, but again, the lion's share of that tends to be individuals who have challenges physically, mentally, or just from the health standpoint.
So Easy Go would that be have a larger ridership compared to SST?
I would say that the SST, because they're within the route, they're accustomed to using the service, and they schedule more frequently. The county or the service that's outside more than a quarter of a mile to where they use the E-Z-GO aren't really as transit dependent as most of the people within the service area. They do schedule us and they do travel. We get people all the way from New Middletown, Springfield, North Jackson, all over. We go as far as Sebring.
Oh,
Take
really?
people from employment, for employment needs from Sebring to right over in Austintown, off Victoria Road and that. So,
Oh, sure.
and again, that's the E-Z-GO, and the E-Z-GO is just a little more expensive at $350.
Again, we're talking with Jim Ferraro. He is the executive director of the WRTA transit system. At this point, why don't we give out the contact phone again, how people can reach if they have questions or they want to set up a ride?
Sure, it's 330-744-8431, and you'll be able to ring into any one of the three girls that answer the phone continuously. If you're not a member and like to maybe line up for that program, they'll send you out the information, and you get that filled out by your physician, send it back in. Within about 2 weeks' time, we'll make sure you meet all the criteria, you qualify, and put you into the program.
Now, I found a lot of this information also on your website, which I have as WRTAonline.com. Does that sound right?
Correct, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, WRTAonline, all one word, .com. And, you know, besides the E-Z-GO and the SST program, which is Special Service Transit, there's also, I think, a listing of all your routes.
Sure,
Maps
right.
of the routes, yeah.
It'll make your travel easy. The girls that schedule for the Dollar Ride program also know the routes and the times and time points on that, so they do a great job, and you can call in and say, here's where I'm at, this is where I want to go, what time do I get it? And they'll
Right.
set you up.
Now, we were talking before the show, we started, about some possibilities on grants or things you're looking into, collaborations. At this point, can you share some of that about, you've been in discussions with other
Sure.
local entities, yeah?
We're really excited about the fact that we have applied for and sent in our application for a grant that will include the Western Reserve Transit Authority, Mercy Health, Youngstown State University, and the Gateway Community College, to where we're going to tie all four of those entities together with service on a loop that will make it easy for students to travel towards the hospital, visitors to come towards town, whether it be grab lunch, board a WRTA bus, or move towards the Gateway Community College. So again, that could be as much as $20 million once we set it up. And we would stand to gain not only the fact that we'll loop that with our vehicles, but there'll be trolleys. So we'll have that trolley back. People seem to get a little nostalgic with that trolley, like to ride on it, and we certainly would be proud to offer that service, tying all of the downtown Youngstown State and those other entities together.
Yeah, when I think of trolleys, well, I was just watching some old film online of Youngstown, and of course, you had the streetcars back in the day. I don't want to give away your age, but do you recall anything like that? I mean,
sure.
the trolleys? Okay, because that was after my time, but...
Yeah, I'm an old man. In any case, these would be trackless trolleys, of course,
Right, sure.
but they are very, very similar, and we had them previously, and they became quite popular as far as charter items, where people would actually hold weddings.
Oh,
or
sure,
travel.
yeah.
But the federal government ruled against that and said that you shouldn't be competing with private providers. Get out of that business. So,
But now they switched.
well, they want us to run the loop. We're not going to
Okay.
be able to charter, but we can
Okay.
run that loop.
But they're okay with the trolley?
Yeah, without
Yeah.
a doubt, tying it together.
Yeah. Well, and we've sort of come full circle now. Again, you were saying 42 years with the with
Yeah, I
WRTA?
started there as a driver. I was driving a school bus going to Youngstown State. They took over that program, and I think I indicated earlier, we were responsible for moving close to 9,000 students on a daily basis. And we weren't known as the Western Reserve Transit Authority.
At that time.
There were a lot of people who thought we were the wrong route transit authority.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge, and we didn't have all the equipment. We should be in much better shape, so.
Well, how about the new buses you were talking about, that are, $400,000 or
Yeah.
whatever? What are they like? What are they going to be? What kind of, do they run on regular fuel? Or
Yeah,
just,
we were actually the first in North America to fuel and store compressed natural gas buses indoors. We were a pilot project back in the 80s, and the state was hot after that item, but the 4 of the 12 buses that we picked up blew engines because the fuel was too hot. So we got out, sold off. But ours will all be diesel. Some of them are already out. We have about another 12 to go. They all have bike racks. There are a half a dozen cameras inside, outside, and they should prove to be very comfortable for a lot of people after riding buses that have been 12 to 15 years old.
Sure, anything newer, got to be more comfortable.
Quieter, oh, definitely.
Better ride, and yeah. So we have a couple minutes to go. Are there, things that, that you're most proud of, I guess, over time, in seeing the changes in WRTA? What do you think is, been the best change overall over the last few decades?
I think the key is our dependability. It was tough when we didn't have the equipment. You put a schedule out, you don't follow it. At this point, we don't have problems with buses. We're out there on time. The fact that we make seniors feel very comfortable because of the programs that we've provided, and also the downtown station where people don't have to run along Commerce Street looking for a bus. It pulls right in, goes to its individual stall. Just travel, I think, and the county issue. The county is the key thing. We service all of Mahoning County. There isn't anybody in Mahoning County that can say that they're locked in, they can't get out. We can get them somewhere, and that's the key issue, and that's something that we're proud of.
And anything that if, again, budget was unlimited, or as you get the $20 million grant, say, is there anything that is on your wish list that you'd really like to be able to do, hopefully, or,
Well, I think the fact that if we're successful with this little loop thing and the new phone service and scheduling process being moved in, we certainly feel good about that. But again, you never get as many people as you should say we're going to hang our hat on it. We think that we can do better than 1.62 million and definitely want to do that. But, with fuel down, people drive. Thank God. We have Lordstown, let them buy cars.
Sure.
That's important to this area too. But transit is something that helps quality of life, and it means business. People getting to work, picking up their share of their taxes as opposed to being dependent. That's the key, and we feel good about that. But we're kind of proud of what we have now. Again,
Sure.
When I first started, we were running out of a cave.
And so things are definitely better now.
Much better.
Yeah.
We're not flush, but we're able to hire and meet people. We have 100 employees now. Have hired probably 35 drivers over the last couple of years. We're kind of proud that we contribute in that way.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jim, for coming on.
Thank you.
Again, we've been talking with James Ferraro. He is the head of the WRTA in Youngstown and Mahoning County. You've been watching Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. I want to thank Greg Roten from Armstrong for putting the show together and getting it on the air for us. Also, thanks to Canfield Library and the library system for allowing us to use the Canfield Library. And until next time, thanks to you for watching.